everybody out there in social media land. You see how I handled that?
Good job.
Thank you very much. Just want to say hi to everybody. We're about to go, we're about to be live on 101.1 The Answer in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a Salem broadcasting station here in Little Rock, Arkansas. We're about to go live. I'm going to interview today. I'm Kerry McCoy. I don't know, what am I?
That's all you need.
I'm just Kerry McCoy.
That's all you need.
I'm Kerry McCoy,
That's fine.
and this show is Up in Your Business with me, Kerry McCoy, and my guest today is Lance Turner. And if you're not from Little Rock, you probably don't recognize him, but if you are from Arkansas, you've seen him on TV 1,000 times. He is the content editor for Arkansas Business Publishing Group.
Pretty much online editor, but yeah.
Online
but
editor.
yeah.
That's a big business.
It is.
That's an all-consuming
It
business.
is. Can be.
And then you're also a panelist for AETN's Arkansas Week.
Same for the radio.
Well, we're going to do that again.
Okay, good.
And then he's also KTHV Channel 11's Good Morning Arkansas.
I'm on the morning show and I deliver business headlines.
Do you do that every day?
I sure do.
Every day?
Every day.
Well, I'm not going to ask
Early.
him too many questions for my social media people because I'm going to wait and ask him when we're live because I want it to be fresh and I don't want to find out too much information. That's why Son Gray over here was saying, save it for the radio, save it for the radio. So this is my son Gray. He's an opera singer. But then he didn't like that because it's too competitive. So he left opera singing after a couple of years at Jacobs School of Music in Indiana and moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas and became a poultry science major. So now he's a opera singing chicken farmer.
We'll co-host the radio show.
Who now co-hosts the radio show with me.
Wow.
But you'll recognize if you're listening to the show on the radio, you will get a feel for his voice. It's very NPR-ish.
Yeah.
It's the third person who's told me it's NPR.
It's
real.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the other day I went to church and I saw Gray. He said, oh, I've got this little part at church. I said, okay, it's Sunday afternoon. I think I'll just go down there. No big deal. I go down there. And I thank goodness I invited his grandmother. So I go down there and Gray's singing, Jesus, what do you say? You're Jesus singing. What's the name of that song you
Jesus
sang?
Christ Superstar.
Jesus.
Gethsemane.
Gethsemane.
Yeah.
Say
You still can't say
I
it.
Say it again.
Gethsemane. You know the Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus
No,
goes
I
to
don't
praise
know.
before he gets crucified.
But
Rock and roll solo. Yeah.
rock and roll solo.
Yeah,
That
that's
is so good. I wish you would go to flagandbanner.com's Facebook page or go to my blog, Kerry McCoy's blog, and you will just be blown away by this guy standing up and singing in this gorgeous church. I'd never seen him sing that good, and I'm his mother. How old are you?
31.
He's 31. That's the first time I've ever seen him pull it off like that.
Wow.
Hey, Zach, are you looking at me because we're about to go live? No? Oh, am I supposed to use this button? Hold on. There's a button to talk to the guy on the other way. Talk back. Hey, Zach.
There we go.
Careful.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I just did.
I have to put the headphones
Yeah,
on?
that's right.
Oh, hey, Zach. How many minutes till we go live? Oh, how many minutes till we go live?
Lost it. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right. So I don't want to mess my hair up because that's the way I am. What? 2 minutes?
You're loud in there when you use the talkback.
Oh. All right, so 2 minutes, we're about to go live. Social media, fans, I'll come back to you at the break. We're going to go live, do the intro. I'll come back at the 10-minute break. No, actually I won't because he reads live, so I won't. So I'll come back at the 30-minute break. We'll chit-chat again at the 30-minute break because that's a recorded break, so we can visit. And then the show lasts for 1 hour, and then it's made available at flagandbanner.com by clicking on radio show, and you can get a list of all the podcasts there. There's over 150 people I've interviewed.
I was like, wow.
And
You're
good people.
You're
Yeah,
number,
yeah, very good.
Yeah, you're number 152.
152.
You're in good company.
I am in good company. I thought, what the thing I wanted to know was who was the person who canceled at the last minute, and then how many people did you call before you got to me for the show? Because there was, I mean, Alan Leverett, and well, just everybody. I mean, politicians.
Walter Hussmans.
Well, yeah, Hussman's been on. Yeah, Hussman's been on. Why? What am I doing here?
You are in that
Walter Hussman's
category
been- well,
with all these guys.
well.
This guy's a publishing guru in town. There's three major publishing gurus, don't you think? Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Arkansas Times, and Arkansas Business Publishing. Don't you think those are the three leaders? And you're one of those three.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't have a problem with that list at all. Yeah.
Oh, 1 minute. All right. We'll come back to you later. Thanks for staying tuned.
Stevens Park all season long for the best family fun in Central Arkansas.
A little while. Center. I mean, point one, the answer.
You ready?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, a production of flagandbanner.com. Through storytelling and conversational interviews, this weekly radio show and podcast offers listeners an insider's view into starting and running a business, the ups and downs of risk-taking, and the commonalities of successful people. Connect with Kerry through her candid, often funny, and always informative weekly blog. There, you'll read, learn, and make comment about her life as a 21st century wife, mother, daughter, and entrepreneur. And now it's time for Kerry to get all up in your business.
Thank you, Sun Gray. If right now you're sitting at your computer, you might want to watch the show live on flagandbanner.com's Facebook page. We're waving at everybody right now. It's kind of fun to see what goes on behind the scenes. We've been talking for almost 5 minutes before the show started to all the viewers out there in social media land. This show, Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, began as a calling. After four decades of running a small business, I felt I had something to share. I wanted to create a platform for not just me, but for other business owners and successful people to pay forward their experiential knowledge in a conversational way. Originally, my team and I thought it would be this easy, informative, 1 hour a week interview, and boy, were we wrong. It is more time-consuming than we ever thought it could be, but we absolutely love it. As with every new endeavor, it's harder than first thought. Once again, I find myself at the onset of starting and running yet another new business, this podcast, and doing exactly what the show is about, creating a new business, taking risks, and of course, working hard. After interviewing over 100 successful people, I've noticed some reoccurring traits among many of my guests: belief in a higher power, the heart of a teacher, and creativity, because business, people, is creative. Before we start, I want to let you know, if you miss any part of today's show or want to hear it again or share it, there's a way, and Gray will tell you how.
Listen to all UIYB past and present interviews by going to flagandbanner.com and clicking on Radio Show, or subscribe to our podcasts wherever you like to listen by searching Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy. Also, you may simply like flagandbanner.com's Facebook page to watch our live stream and receive timely notifications of upcoming guests. Back to you, Kerry.
Thank you again, Gray. My guest today is Mr. Lance Turner, online editor of Arkansas Business Publishing Group of Little Rock, Arkansas. In 1999, Lance began working for Arkansas Business as a reporter. It wasn't long before he was recognized as a star. His intellect and willingness to work hard garnered him a promotion to overseer of all web content for the many magazines and newspapers of said publishing group, some of which are Arkansas Business Magazine, Little Rock Soiree, Little Rock Family, Arkansas Bride, and Greenhead. You may have seen Lance on THV 11 this morning's show with his weekday news report, or as a guest panelist on AETN's Arkansas Week, a public affairs program. But what Do you really know about this familiar face in our community? If you search his name online, he's everywhere talking about news and politics, but never about himself. So who is Lance Turner? He's laughing and chuckling to himself. Well, today we're going to find out. It's a pleasure to welcome to the table the mysterious, well-read, and hardworking online editor of Arkansas Business Publishing, Mr. Lance Turner.
Wow, that is. I'm curious now. I want to know about me.
It's true,
Yeah.
isn't it?
What in terms of what I post and put out there and stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really. I don't know. I'm not an oversharer, I would say.
Overshare.
Not one of those oversharing people. I don't want to be that. I think that's kind of irritating sometimes.
I think he might be talking bad about me because
No,
I think I'm an
no,
oversharer.
No. I'm saying for me. I'm saying for me. If I were to overshare, it would be irritating and annoying because.
No, I agree completely. I don't want to know what everybody's eating for dinner, and I don't know when they went to Walmart and what they bought at Walmart. That's kind of oversharing.
There are
because
fascinating people out there, believe me,
exhausting.
and I do want to hear about them, and I'm obsessed with the minutia of their lives sometimes because they do cool things and they go to cool places, and so there are those people that I want to know about, but I don't know that I'm that person. And there are a lot of other stories in Arkansas and Little Rock and in business that are way more interesting than mine, and it's our job at Arkansas Business to share those stories. And so
You're a
that's-
true reporter.
Well, I
You're
try to.
You are always on the outside, or are you on the inside? Reporters, you never really know much about reporters. You always know about the guests that they're interviewing. That's the sign of a good reporter.
That's good.
It is. I don't want to hear about the reporter when they've got somebody on. I don't know. I never knew anything about Matt Lowry till he got in trouble for
Until
cheating
you
on his
learn too
wife.
much about Matt
Till
Lauer,
I-
right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Or my other favorite older gentleman,
Charlie Rose.
Charlie Rose.
Probably. Yeah, that was a blow. I didn't like that at all.
He may have been my favorite talk show on.
I love the Charlie Rose. I still watch the clips. I mean,
I do too.
on YouTube, and I mean, he's interviewed a lot of great people and had a lot of great conversations.
I write him letters.
Oh, really?
I do, and I try to email him. And when I went to New York, I asked him if he'd see me. He never answers me.
Well,
I'm serious. I do that. I love
maybe
Charlie
for the best.
Rose.
Maybe for the best.
He's too old to be trouble. I can handle
All
him
right.
anyway. All right, let's talk about you. Actually, I do know you. I know
That's right.
your wife. You come to Dancing into Dreamland. You've been a great supporter of Dancing into Dreamland. I know your wife, Laura. I remember when you had your baby. How
That's
old
right.
is she?
She's
5. She's not a baby anymore.
Well, it's pretty young. Elizabeth, well, you're right, not baby. Elizabeth,
That's right.
talk about fatherhood.
Well, oh my gosh. Well, I don't have it figured out. I can tell you that. I mean, and that's one thing you learn pretty quick is that you're probably never going to figure it out. To be honest, maybe you do. Maybe you have this great epiphany toward the end, but I don't have it figured out yet. But that's also kind of part of the fun is kind of watching this person grow up and getting to help this person kind of introduce them to the world and stuff. I mean, she notices new things every day, which is really great. And you'll talk to her about things, and you'll just sort of offhandedly, accidentally introduce her to a new concept, something that you take completely for granted that you know about, that you do every day. And you can tell that she has never noticed that before, didn't know about it, and a little light comes on, and she might repeat the word that you said, and in a way that you know that she's taking it in, she's recording it in some way, and going to remember it. And so those are fun moments, and then just having a good time and getting to sort of relive a little bit of your childhood through her too, which is that's really fun. Christmases get really fun again. Christmases get a little boring, I think, in a part of your life. And then when you have kids, man, Christmas is awesome. And all those holidays and events and family events and milestones and stuff. So, but then you have the thing where, she just will not go to sleep at night. She will not go to bed. And she wants to keep coming down the stairs and talking to you and your wife. And you're just like, it's time to go to bed now. Can you please go to bed? We would like to have an hour where we are just chilling and maybe not being mom and dad for a little bit. So you have those
That's what they make
frustrations
Benadryl
too.
for.
Well, melatonin, stuff like that. Yeah, those kinds of things. Yeah, but it's great. It's fantastic. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So
Don't you wish you had that zest for life, that you never wanted to go to sleep? You just couldn't just
Oh, man.
always had something.
The energy level is just ridiculous.
And there's so much, like you said, they're just dying to get up. So you met your wife, Laura, where?
I met her through a friend who was working at Arkansas Business, Chip Talby. He was an associate publisher for a while at Arkansas Business, and Chip and Laura went to Hendrix College together. And I was hanging out at Chip's one night, and he said, "Hey, I got a friend coming over, Laura. Maybe you want to meet her?" And sure. And so she came over, and we all kind of went out that night, and then asked her out, and then after that, we were off to the races. And
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. It
Didn't
was
take a long.
Did not take very long at all. Yeah. When you know, you kind of know.
So what school did you go to? If she went to Hendrix, what college is your alma mater?
I went to Arkansas State University in Jonesboro.
Did you want to be a newsman?
Always. Yeah, I think so. I always kind of wanted to be involved in it.
Really?
I'm extremely lucky that I have kind of always known the space that I wanted to work in.
You are lucky for that reason.
There are a lot of people who don't know that.
And won't ever know.
Right, yeah.
Your parents were in the business? How did you know?
No, my dad was an electrician, and my mother was assistant director at our church's child development center, daycare, and preschool.
And so you would watch the news?
I did, yeah. I watched the news and read the papers, and back when there were 2 papers, and I'd be in my room and I'd type up little weather reports, and I'd stand in front of my closet door in front of a map and give the weather and do all that kind of stuff. And then later on, my sister and I would, with the tape recorder, we'd make our own little radio shows and all that business. And I was always just kind of playing around that, and drawing and writing. And so as soon as I got into high school, and there was a journalism program at North Pulaski High School, I was on the staff of the Free Spirit and was writing and reporting and became editor. And then it came time to figure out where I was going to go to college. And ASU was and still is known for its journalism program, journalism and broadcasting and radio and printing and all that. And went there and took the tour and just fell in love, walked into that College of Communications and just like, this is it, man. This is where I want to be. And so, did that.
Did you think you'd be in front of the camera or behind the camera writing?
At first I didn't know, and the way those programs were structured back then, and it's changed now as it should, you kind of had to pick your path. You had to go print journalism or you had to go broadcast journalism, and never the twain really met. You kind of choose one or the other. And I went ahead and picked print because I just sort of, I loved writing, I loved reporting. I loved doing all the stuff that you had to do to put out a paper back then. I loved the pagination and designing the pages and budgeting the stories and figuring out what was going to go where and how you're going to play different stories and the photography, all that stuff, and assigning stories and all that was really sort of uniquely part of print journalism. And so I chose that route.
It's very layered.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of different stuff.
You've got to think.
It's
very creative to lay it all out and make it all come together at one time.
Yes, yeah.
What about if you had to put a newspaper together every day? How do those people do it?
I don't know. It's a big job.
How often does your magazine come out?
We're weekly, so we've got it pretty easy compared to the daily folks for sure. I mean, it's if you've ever seen the movie The Paper with Robert Duvall and Michael Keaton, it's a great newspaper film. They talk about you start from zero every day, and that's what you do. Every day is a blank slate. You start from zero, and you fill it.
So you graduate from Arkansas State. You're you go out and start applying for jobs. Is the job you've got with the company you're at now, or is that this company you first got a job with out of college, or where was your first job?
It is. Well, so I interned at the Jacksonville Patriot newspaper while I was in college. I did a couple summers there. That was owned by McGee Enterprises, the McGee family out of northern Pulaski County, and mainly around Cabot. They had the Cabot Star-Herald. They had a bunch of papers, Lone Oak Democrat, and the Carlisle paper, I think. And so I interned there, and then coming out of college, when it was time to graduate, what it boiled down to was Arkansas State had an alumnus. Is that the right use of that word? Jeff Hankins. Jeff Hankins went to Arkansas State.
Alumni.
Okay. There's for the male. See, if I had my style book here, I would look it up. I would have to look that up.
Is that a writer for you?
I don't
right
always
there?
know off the top of my head.
Okay.
But anyway, he was a graduate of Arkansas State and a Herald editor of the paper there. and I met him, and he was at Arkansas Business Publishing Group as a publisher and editor of Arkansas Business, and had been for a while. And so,
I thought it was a woman.
well, Olivia Farrell owned the company.
Oh,
She was the CEO.
she started it, didn't she?
Yes. And there's a lot of history there that we could talk about. But yes, she was,
Okay.
pretty much started Arkansas Business Publishing Group in the mid-90s.
But it was this publisher that you met. He was an alumnus.
Yes, Jeff Hankins,
Okay.
who is now at the Arkansas State University System. But anyway, I met with Jeff, really liked Jeff. We hit it off pretty well. And so it boiled down to I had an offer from Jeff to work at Arkansas Business. I had some things going with the Democrat Gazette on the sports desk, which is really funny looking back. And then also with the Jonesboro Sun. And so that was kind of my three possibilities there. And,
So you're working 3 part-time jobs.
No, I had in terms of I had
Oh, you had
interviews.
3
I had
options. You had
interviews.
3 options.
That's right. I had
Okay.
interviews with those 3.
Okay.
And so yeah, I really have only had like 2 jobs in my life, but 3 if you count the hardware job at Sutherland's in high school. So so it boiled down to Democrat Gazette and Jonesboro Sun and Arkansas Business, and I chose Arkansas Business.
I gotcha.
And I liked Arkansas Business because, number one, the Jeff Hankins connection, but it also kind of appealed to me because it was a different kind of journalism job. It was really weird for journalism because it was a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday job, which was, when you're coming out of journalism school, that's going to be pretty rare. I mean, you're going to be, most of the time, you're going to be taking the really kind of crappy, working nights and weekends, general assignment reporter kind of jobs. But this was different, and there was long form kind of writing that I could do. I got to write the media column called Outtakes. So I had my own column to start off with.
What's a media column?
So it's in Arkansas Business to this day, we have a column called Outtakes, and it covers the media industry in Arkansas.
Movie reviews?
No, we're talking radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, the media business. The business of media in Arkansas is what that is, kind of that beat of that column. And so, which was ad agencies as well, all the businesses tied to marketing firms and ad firms. So I got to cover all of that, which was fantastic. As someone who grew up loving media and being kind of a media junkie, man, I ate that up with a spoon. So, so all of that made for a really appealing package to start a career in journalism.
And
with.
you
I was
started
very
in
fortunate.
1999
Yes.
and was only a reporter
Yes.
for a year.
Thereabouts.
And then they saw your hard work ethic,
I think so. Yeah.
and they offered you a new position that had never existed
That's right.
because it was the beginning
It
of.
was the beginning of the web, really. And so we had a website that was really just, pretty basic for even then, where we put a few stories from our print edition up every week. And Jeff Hankins had this vision for a much grander online operation, one that would do daily news, so daily breaking business news throughout the day. And the key piece was an e-newsletter component. So we would email e-newsletters to subscribers every day, a daily e-newsletter that would have the latest business news stories in it. So we would go from publishing once a week in print to once a week in print, but also 5 days a week on this e-newsletter product.
Well, there went your
online.
easy life.
And so that's the schedule drastically changed. And it was a good time to be doing it because we were all kind of making stuff up along the way because there really weren't a lot of easy templates for some of this stuff. We were among the first, maybe the first, with a daily news e-newsletter product in Arkansas. Certainly, if we weren't the first, we were among the first. And so, it was a whole new way of doing news, business news.
Well, we're going to talk about e-news and the fast, ever-changing technology. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor. Is that the right title for you, online editor?
That's fine. That's fine. It's been a lot of different things. It was interactive editor at one point.
Oh,
it was,
no, I like
It was
online
internet
editor better.
editor at one point. It's been all kinds of stuff. But
Online editor
That's
of
fine.
Arkansas Business Publishing Group. And like I said, we're going to talk about the fast-paced world of electronic news with its ever-changing technology. We'll be back after the break.
You're listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, a production of flagandbanner.com. Over 40 years ago, with only $400, Kerry founded Arkansas Flag and Banner. During the last 4 decades, the business has grown and changed, starting with door-to-door sales, then telemarketing, to mail order and catalog sales, and now flagandbanner.com relies heavily on the internet and live chats with customers all over the world. Over this time, Kerry's business and leadership knowledge has grown. As early as 2004, she began sharing her knowledge in her weekly blog. In 2009, she founded the nonprofit Friends of Dreamland Ballroom, and in 2014, Brave Magazine, a biannual publication. Today, she has branched out into podcasts, Facebook livestream, and YouTube videos of this radio show. Each week, you'll hear candid conversations between her and her guests about real-world experiences on a variety of businesses and topics that we hope you'll find interesting and inspiring. Stay up to date by joining flagandbanner.com's mailing list. You'll receive our Water Cooler Weekly e-blast that notifies you of our upcoming guests, happenings at Dreamland Ballroom, sales at flagandbanner.com, access to Brave magazine articles, and Kerry's current blog post. All that in one weekly email. Or you may simply like flagandbanner.com's Facebook page for timely notifications. Telling American-made stories, selling American-made flags. TheFlagandBanner.com. Back to you, Kerry.
You're listening to Up in Your Business with me, Kerry McCoy, and I'm speaking today with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor for Arkansas Business Publications, which include Arkansas Business Magazine, Little Rock Soiree, Little Rock Family, Arkansas Bride, and Greenhead. Is Greenhead a hunting magazine?
Duck Hunting Magazine.
That's what I figured that Greenhead stood for. I didn't think it was somebody who was envious. Oh,
That's good.
thanks. All right, before the break, we talked about Lance being this community figure. We all see him all the time on TV, all the time, every week, every morning on Channel 11. But yet, he's such a great reporter that nobody really knows anything about him, because that's what good reporters do. You don't know anything about him, but you know everything about what he's talking about. So we've talked about his education. We've talked about his career, his training, and then we've talked about how he always knew he wanted to be a newspaper man, and how he started his job. He's only had how many jobs? 2 jobs?
2 or 3. Probably.
You're a lucky man. So talk about the discipline of this job. You get up in the morning and do what?
Well, I get up about 5:30, and then I head straight to Channel 11, and I have a segment there. It's about 6:20, 6:25, I think, and do 2 or 3 minutes of business headlines. You know, the day's business headlines.
Where do you get your business headlines from? The night before, or that morning when you get up at 5:30?
Most of the time, I've written it before I left work, or before I leave work the day before. But there are times, you know, if news
Breaking
demands,
news.
you know, you add to it and whatnot. But yeah, it's you know, it's
Do you
business.
look at the paper or online news before you leave the house?
Yeah, I do. I don't always do it. Which I should. I should say that I roll out of bed and check Twitter immediately, and I can't make myself do that. I just can't. I cannot do it. It's too much. But I do often before I go on. I kind of try to get a read on walking into the studio, kind of what's been happening overnight, and I'll check Twitter usually just to kind of make sure.
And
I know
what time
what's what.
did you say you go on?
About 6:24, 6:25, something like that.
Well, not to be exact, 6:24 or 6:25.
Well, but they're exact though. I mean, that's usually when it's been hitting lately.
And you
is,
speak for 3 minutes?
thereabouts.
Do you do another bump, or is that the only one you do?
That's the only one I do. I do that bump there, and then I'm off to work.
And then you get to work, it's probably 7 o'clock.
About 6:40, 6:45 or so.
And get your coffee.
Get my coffee, and then I start working on our first e-newsletter of the day. We have a morning newsletter that we put out called the Morning Roundup, and it's sort of an aggregated look at business news. It's sort of a digest, I guess. Really, I kind of take a survey. That's when I really do my survey of what's happened the night before in the world of business news. I check Wall Street Journal. I check all the local papers. I check Bloomberg, CNBC. I search for Walmart, Tyson Foods, Windstream, all of our local companies, just to kind of see what's happening, if anything's developed overnight. And then I write that newsletter up, and I try to send that, you know, sometime between 8 and 8:30. And then I take a breather for a little bit, and then we start working on our noon daily report e-newsletter, and that's kind of the flagship news product that we put out on a daily basis online.
So what's the first one called?
The first one's called the Morning Roundup.
And the second one's called
the Daily Report.
And is there a third one?
No, but there are about 20 weekly e-newsletters that we do as well, and those are around topics of interest. So maybe you don't want to get daily reports from us every day. Maybe you are just intensely interested in banking and finance news in Arkansas. You can subscribe to our banking and finance e-newsletter, and you get that. Actually, that one goes twice a week. But you can get that twice a week, or another industry once a week. That is an aggregate digest and some new stuff of all of our coverage up to that point.
Is that why you say that you are the online editor for all of Arkansas Publishing? Because it's not like Soiree has a e-blast and Little Rock Family has an e-blast and Arkansas Bride has an e-blast. It's because Arkansas Business has all these categories?
No, those products do have their own e-newsletters.
Do you manage those too?
Really, no. I kind of at a high level, I sort of support those editors, and we get together kind of on a monthly basis and talk about each of those products and how we can make those products better. But each of those products have their own editor, and they each do their own newsletters, and they're of different frequencies. Soiree has a daily one. Little Rock Families comes out twice a week. Bride is very, I think, very specific around when your wedding date is.
Seasonal.
Yes, you could say that. You could say that. Yeah.
And then Greenhead seasonal probably too.
Yes. Greenhead's an annual magazine, so its website is year-round, but I believe the...
So how many e-blasts do you manage a week? Just adding that up. Because we do, how many, Gray? Just to wrap our head around it. I want to hear how many Lance does, just because it's just going to blow me away, I bet.
5, I believe, is
We
all,
do
is what
5?
Flag and Banner does totally.
Which is about one every day. And it's a big deal. And you're doing 2 in the morning, 2 a day.
2 a day plus, another...
Plus all those categories.
Plus all the 20-some-odd
How
categories.
many employees
so.
do you have helping you do that?
Well, I have myself, and then I have another reporter, Sarah Campbell Miller, who works on the web half her time and on the print edition half her time. I have another person who works for me full-time but also spends a lot of time working on a lot of our other products, getting them online and managing their websites. And then we have our Arkansas Business staff, which is 6 or 7 full-time people, and they all help me contribute as well to the web. So that's kind of the idea. I mean, it's not a big staff.
No, it's not.
But
it's a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of work.
How fast do you think you read? Sounds like you're a speed reader.
I kind of got to be, yeah. In my daily news consumption. Now, when I'm reading a novel or something, I'm pretty slow. But when I'm scanning news, I mean, news stories kind of have a formula to them. You kind of know they kind of have their own rhythm and stuff, so you can kind of know where to look for the important things and pick them out. And I kind of know what I'm looking for when I'm scanning different news sources and stuff, so I can get through things pretty quickly. But I miss stuff all the time too.
So what do you think about fake news? What keeps you from doing fake news? From publishing fake news?
Well, that it's fake and bad for our democracy.
How can you tell?
How can you tell if it's fake?
Yes.
Well, we have right now our editor Gwen Moritz has a presentation she's been making to Rotary clubs and other groups across the state about fake news, and I've done a few of them when she can't do them. And there's different types of fake news. There's just out and out lies. That's the National Enquirer stuff or the Star tabloid stuff. Or
well, those are. Yes.
You do know those are, yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the trick, is that you've got to learn about biased news. You have to be able to differentiate between opinion, analysis, and straight news. And you have to kind of trust, a few key sources. And then you have to also be willing to be well-read and read a lot of different sources to kind of get a full picture of what's going on. And you have to... when you're watching news on cable news particularly, you have to watch for certain key things that are kind of tells in terms of, whether this is fake or suspect, or they just don't know yet and they're speculating. And there's all those kinds of things that you got to be aware of, and people aren't educated really to know that in many cases.
There's a lot of speculating because there's so many people on TV. So many news channels on TV, they've got so much airtime to burn that it seems like they just get on there and randomly talk about speculation.
Yeah. I don't have cable TV in my home, and I would encourage that for most people to not
really
not just it's why is it necessary? We don't. I think on balance, it's more bad than good. I mean, I just... Do
you have straight TV, 4/7/11?
I do, yeah. We have we have an antenna, because we're those people who've cut the cable, cut the cord or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep the networks, and so I watch my local news, obviously, and I'll dip into some national news. A lot of that's just it's on at a time of the day when I'm dealing with my daughter and my family and stuff, so I don't get to see it a lot.
So if you want to record a show that comes on 4/7 or 11,
mm-hmm.
and you don't have the DVR option on your cable, what do you do?
I don't record anything. I mean,
So if you want to record Dancing with the Stars, it ain't happening.
No, it's not. Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, that's the only
I
reason
miss
I
out
have to.
on the Dancing with the Stars. But we do make time for. We're making a lot of time these days for the American Ninja Warrior. We're big Ninja Warrior people.
It's
so
fun.
My daughter loves it.
My grandkids love it. We watch it all the time.
Yeah, so it's appointment television. I mean, it's just like it used to be. I mean, if you want to watch a show, then be there when the show is on and watch the show. And if you missed it, well, they'll show it again eventually, right?
Well, you got Netflix.
You got
You can stream everything.
We got the Netflix and we got the HBO and the.
What do you think about your industry as a whole?
In terms of
where it's going?
Well, that's the question, right? I mean,
I mean, look at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. They've gone.
Yeah, isn't that
they're going
fantastic?
digital. I think it's great.
We got our iPad. We got our office iPad today, in fact, for our office subscription.
They're
to the
planning on
paper.
having it all done by November.
Yeah,
cut the cord by November.
It's a bizarre feeling that.
So for our listeners that don't know what we're talking about, our main newspaper here in really Arkansas, all of Arkansas, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Do you think they're a competitor of yours?
They can be, yeah.
They have. Walter Hussman, the owner, has decided to provide $11 million in iPads to all the subscribers in the state of Arkansas.
I think that's the photo of the year was Walter Hussman standing in the warehouse with all the iPads in boxes behind him. I think that was fantastic. That was a great image.
And he's making a commitment to taking the paper digital. The only print you're going to get is on Sundays.
Yeah.
At first I thought, how am I going to share the paper with my husband?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, I have lots of iPads and stuff in the house. They tested it in Blyville, and I read in the paper that they expect 30% of people to drop off.
It's going to be interesting, and watching those renewals will be interesting too. It's one thing to get those subscribers; it's another thing to keep them, and of course that's always the game in this business anyway, is the churn of subscribers, and we were talking about that at the office today.
What?
In terms of digital subscribers, there was a report about the Los Angeles Times and how it's trying to, like everybody else, make this digital transition, and so its digital subscriber numbers came out, and they were way below what they should have been, and they're dealing with a lot of issues of churn, and they signed up X number of people, and then X number of those people didn't renew, and so they got to figure out, well, what are we doing or not doing to keep those subscribers, and so there's this whole strategy that you've got to employ that people are still trying to figure out in terms of how to, reduce churn and keep subscribers and the kind of communication you need to do to subscribers and what you need to give subscribers, and just that whole thing is an art and a science, and
it'll be fun to watch. So do you think you'll ever go digital?
Maybe
completely digital?
Maybe. I don't know. I think right now though we really. We see a lot of future in print, and we're doing a lot of. We've seen growth in print, and we've added titles in the past few years, and
I agree.
And yeah, and we're. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to say this the correct way. If my publisher Mitch Bettis was here, he's got a great spiel on all this and can tell you about it. But the goal for us is to diversify our sources of revenue, and so. We've got this slice that's print, and this slice that's subscription, and this slice that's events, and this slice that's something else. And we have a web development company in our office as well, and so that's another slice. And so, the proportions are going to change, but we want the pie itself to get bigger, the entire pie.
It's an enterprise of several businesses under one roof.
It is, yeah. And so a lot of publishers are having to think in those terms.
Creative.
Right. Yeah. You do. You got to be creative and not maybe, things that you used to say no to, well, maybe you should think about them now.
I think people are tired of spam. I think people are ready to touch and hold stuff. That's just my opinion. We've gone back to snail mail advertising.
Wow. Yeah.
We're getting great results out of it. And oddly enough, it's cheaper than Google AdWords.
Wow.
Google AdWords are expensive these days.
Yeah. It's I don't know. And I'm not on the business side of our operation, obviously. But it's interesting times, and everybody's trying to figure it out. And I don't know. We are all very proud and rooting for Walter Hussman. I mean, we need the Democrat Gazette to be in Arkansas. I mean, we need it to do the good work that it's doing. You need a strong daily paper in your market to make your democracy work. You just need it. And so I hope it works out for them. I really do.
Yes, I do too. So this is a great place to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor for Arkansas Business Publishing Group. And if you have a question for Lance, stay tuned, because Son Gray will give you a hotline number right after the break. I want to remind everyone we're broadcasting live every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time on 101.1 The Answer and flagandbanner.com's Facebook page. And that after each show's airing, a podcast is made available on all popular listening sites and YouTube. Phone number when we come back.
flagandbanner.com is proud to...
We get to talk.
Cool. You hit your time? Is that what you said?
No, I said we get to talk.
Oh, okay.
No, we get to talk. We
I
can
thought
wave
you
to
were like, we hit our
everybody.
break just right or something.
No, we get the. These things are hot
Yeah, they are.
and small. These are small. You know, I'm going to buy my own. Bring my own in here, and I'm going to get different colors so they all match my outfit.
You need a flag.
So you'll have like a 70, like a briefcase of them, different colors, so you can have
At home,
for, yeah.
and I'll just bring it out, put on my outfit, and then I'll go, oh, today I'm wearing pink. I'm going to put pink ones on, and red ones on, and yellow ones on, and then I'm going to put on ones with little crowns, like queen for a day. Okay, these are hot. Today I have to wear black because I'm wearing black. How many minutes?
You'll let you know.
What's that mean?
6. It's 6. It's the
6
number.
minutes? 6 seconds.
No.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
Good. Back to it.
You're listening to Up in Your Business with me, Kerry McCoy. I'm speaking today with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor for Arkansas Business Publication. We've been talking about the future of print. We're all rooting for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette's new changeover. I was telling our listeners that don't know what's been going on with our local paper here in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're going digital. They are friendly competitors of Lance's organization, and we all feel like, we want print in all forms to work out. We've been talking about Lance's career and how nobody really knows who he is, but we're getting to know him today really well, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So how do you balance your work and your family? When we started talking about your day, we got to 2 emails, one in the morning, the roundup, one at noon, and then the afternoons, and we never did finish out with your evenings. So what time do you leave work?
I try to leave around 3:30.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I just assumed you were going to say, I know you get to work at 6, so that's perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but I read about you online where you said you had a hard time when your baby was born cutting the cord from work.
Yeah, but that was a great motivator, right? I mean, I pick her up from school, so which is a great thing to be able to do. But so it keeps me. I mean, I'm a lot more efficient with my time than I used to be. I mean, I used to wait, and Laura and I talk about this a lot. We used to waste a lot of time before we had a child. I mean, we had all this time sitting around that I don't even know what we were doing. But that kind of goes for work too, I think sometimes. But so 3:30 is when I'm trying to leave. Now there's some days when I do stay if something's happening. News tends to break whenever it breaks, and so if a big story's happening, then I'll hang around for a little while. But we've got a good staff. I mean, everybody on our staff, we've got a really experienced Arkansas business staff, people who've been there for literally decades. And
The owner of your business just sold.
She sure did.
What happened to the staff when that happened? Did it scare everybody? She acts like it was a wonderful thing and she did it perfectly, and I get the feeling she did, but you tell me.
I think she did, and because these things don't often go well for the people who are left behind. You've got a generation of business journal owners across the country who are kind of reaching that retirement age, and they're kind of looking around to, what am I going to do? Am I going to sell this, and who am I going to sell it to? And there are not many buyers out there these days. And the ones that are there aren't taking good care of the products of the organizations that they buy.
Because they're stripping them of all their money and downsizing, and they're just taking the cash out of it.
Yes. So Mitch Bettis, who has been our president and publisher since 2013, I believe, purchased it, and
from Olivia, and others.
There were other stockholders, but Olivia was the major owner there. And it was great, and everyone breathed a huge sigh of relief. I mean, it really was a nice moment, and has been great. And he's sort of been running it kind of the way he's wanted to run it for a while now, anyway. So there hasn't been any hard left or right turns since she's left, and he hasn't drastically changed the scope of what we're doing. I mean, we've been doing it, and so it's been really great. It's really fantastic. She did a great job with unloading it for sure.
So what are your plans? Are you going to work there for the rest of your life? You've had two jobs in your life.
Probably, yeah, and that's fine because
is that your dream job?
Well,
what is your dream job?
Well, I don't know. In a lot of ways, it has been my dream job because I've been able to do a lot of cool things. I mean, I'm on daily television, which if I told this to myself when I was 10 or something, that would have been fantastic, right? Fantastic news that when I grow up, I get to be on local daily television, every day, and then sometimes I get to be on Arkansas Week, and sometimes I get to guest host Arkansas Week, which is a crazy dream that I had when I used to watch Arkansas Week all the time with my family, and so I've been able to do that kind of stuff. Then I get to come on shows like this, and I mean, it's just and I meet interesting people, and then I work at a fantastic place, and a place that has been supportive of me, and there are great people at our company. Who are all doing really good work and want to do good work and want to do a good thing. And it's hard because we don't always make everybody happy, right? And when you're doing business, people get bent out of shape sometimes. I mean, customers or whatnot, or you can't always do the right thing, and people don't always walk away from every interaction happy, right? And it's just the nature of how things are. But I think most of the time we have good experiences with people. And that makes me feel good. So, in a lot of ways, it probably, if I go anywhere else, it probably won't be as good as it is now. And I try to remember that every day. When I'm having a bad day, I try to keep that in mind.
So you talk about business in Arkansas Business, hence the name Arkansas
Yes.
Business Publishing. Do you, when you're on Arkansas Week, you talk about politics, right?
We do, yeah.
Are you just as interested in politics as you are in business?
I can be, yeah. There's a lot about politics that are interesting to me. State politics is fascinating, and of course, politics and business very tightly intertwined, and so that's always an interesting nexus.
Who's your most interesting person you've ever interviewed?
Oh man, who would that be? I mean, I've talked to a lot of people.
Successful people are often really eccentric.
They can be, yes.
And gregarious.
They are, yeah. There's a personality to them. I enjoyed talking to Gina Radke, who do you know Gina Radke? You should know Gina Radke. And now I'm gonna blank on the name of her company. It is in Sherwood, Arkansas. She makes latches and hinges for airplanes.
Not Starbolt.
No. I'm so ashamed that I can't remember the name of this company.
It makes me feel good, actually, that you can't remember a name.
Look,
Sun Gray is Gina
Radke, Radke.
So she was a good interview.
She was a great interview. We did a little video series, and she was part of that, and she was great. Her story is great. The kind of the mission behind her business is really fascinating. The people that she employs and takes on.
I guess we need to have her on the radio.
You've got the website pulled up.
I do. She is the CEO of Galley Support
Innovations. That's right.
What is that?
They
make hinges for airplanes.
They make all kinds of hardware and parts for airplanes. She's really a big advocate for Arkansas's aerospace industry. Arkansas is a player in world aerospace, and we export a lot of products in that space, and she's one of the people out there making it happen.
We need to have her on the radio.
Yeah, she's definitely a guest that you should have. She's got a great
story. So we had Charles
story.
Morgan on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah?
You interviewed him?
I've talked to him. I haven't sat for like a long-form interview with him, but I've talked to him over the years.
Who else have you had on that? Who have you, a politician?
Well, I've talked to Mark Pryor. I've talked to John Bozeman. I've talked to, the congressional delegation.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked. I've talked a little bit with Tom Cotton. I hadn't sat down with an interview for him, but I've chatted with Tom Cotton.
You think he's going to run for president?
I don't know. Man, I don't know.
A lot of people ask me that.
That'll be interesting. I mean, unless he gets drafted for a Trump administration job, which, every time something comes open at defense or something, his name goes to the top of the list.
Yes, because he's was a Marine, I think.
Right.
So what advice would you give someone getting into the business of news?
Well,
if they wanted to start like you, and it's all different today, how should they start?
Well, you want to read a lot. You want to. I think writing to me is the bedrock that all this kind of rests on. If you can write, you can I think you can rule the world if you do it the right way, right? I mean, writing is you write. It drives everything that we do.
How much do you write a day?
I write a bunch.
You write a blog about your daughter?
No, I don't. No, I
What?
don't. No, sorry, sadly, no. I'm on Twitter a little bit. Yeah, I do some
When
Twitter.
you write all your articles, but I didn't see you had a blog.
No, I did years ago. I've got a website. I've got lanceturner.com. It's kind of a placeholder right now, but
Yeah, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
sorry,
about you
sorry.
anywhere.
I used to blog quite a bit, but when you're doing that, plus I wanted my energies mainly on arkansasbusiness.com, and if I'm going to be writing, if I'm going to be writing, that's where I should be writing. So
That's right.
Yeah.
You're burned out probably by the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right, this is another great place to take a break. We'll continue our conversation with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor for Arkansas Business Publishing Group. We'll be right back.
Friends of Dreamland are proud to sponsor.
Phone number for calling in. Did I ever forget to do? Did I forget to do that?
You did.
I sure did.
Hmm?
I sure did. I'll do that. Don't let me forget next time I do that.
Only got like 5 minutes left.
10.
7,
Was that starts 2 minutes before?
8, something like that. 1 minute before.
It's a good commercial. That's Tom Woods from Magic 105.
That's right, yeah.
You recognize him?
Yeah.
He's working for me now.
Good.
I know.
You're listening to Up in Your Business with me, Kerry McCoy, and I'm speaking today with Mr. Lance Turner, online editor for Arkansas Business Publications. Before the break, we've talked about, did we ever finish talking about how to get into the newspaper business, read and write everything you can? But I forgot to give out the phone number. Gray, have you got the phone number there in case someone wants to ask Lance a question?
I do. It is 501-823-0965.
Say it again.
501-823-0965.
So if someone wants to call in and ask Mr. Lance Turner a question about how to get in the business or anything, really, I guess, they can ask you anything. You're pretty open to answering questions.
Sure.
So we talked about how important we think news is, but it's getting so convoluted.
yes.
You said that you feel like disconnect from Comcast, but then you got to read print, and I'm not sure that print is any better.
Right. I would just.
How do you get the news today? I feel like it's very, very hard
It's difficult.
to get unbiased news. I mean, I know not to believe what you read on social media or on Facebook, but you pick up the newspaper, you read it. They're usually got a slant.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to write without putting your own slant on everything, your personality if you're a reporter.
I just think people have to do maybe a little bit more work and realize, first of all, just be well read. You don't have to just read one paper. Try to sample a little bit of everything. On a topic, and realize, again, there are these tells when you're reading an article. You can. I don't know if I'm not going to articulate this well at all. There are just it's hard for me to point these things out. I guess because I can recognize them pretty easily. I suppose. I'm looking for facts. I'm looking for things that can be verified. I'm looking for words that tell me that maybe this person doesn't really know what they're talking about. I'm looking for partisanship. I'm looking for party affiliations. I know the Republicans are going to say this kind of thing and the Democrats are going to say this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's, I'm not doing a good job here of any of this. But
So there's a way when you look at the news that you can kind of train yourself to wade through the opinions and get down to this is a sentence that's an actual fact
Right.
and not his opinion.
Right, verifiable facts, stuff that you can check out. Numbers, hard things, incidents that happened, things that took place, and then just kind of watch for people when they're trying to spin something. Or, people are gonna again, the Republicans are going to say a thing like this. Democrats are going to say a thing like this. I mean, you recognize that. You hear it every day. And so, and you know, Fox News has this kind of slant. MSNBC has this kind of slant, you know. I mean, you kind of, it's predictable what they're going to say and how the take they're going to have on an issue. And I always say, you know, if something sounds really too good to be true to you, it probably is, you know. And if this thing really sounds great to you, particularly in the political space, if this really just speaks to you in a really partisan way, then maybe it's designed to do that, and maybe it's not designed to inform you or tell you something you need to know. Maybe it's just informed to make you feel good in your bubble,
or to inflame you,
or to get you riled up about something. I mean, that's what social media does, and that's the danger of social media. It's a play on your emotions and your preconceived notions, and it's trying to get you outraged. That's what that's all about. And so those are the places where you need to kind of beware, I think.
One word to sum you up.
Oh gosh. Wow, I don't know.
Okay, 2 words.
2 words. I mean,
okay, 3.
I mean, hopefully, I think steady.
Wow, that's a good word.
I mean, I've been doing the same thing for 20 years. So
you are the steady as a rock.
I've just set it and forget it kind of thing, you know. So, yeah.
If you were to give yourself advice from 20 years ago, what would it be?
Oh wow! And what was I doing 20? Okay, so I was just starting all this. Wow, advice to myself in 20 years. Well, it's all going to change, so be ready for it. I guess I don't think we even knew then kind of how big our industry was going to be upended by all this. I mean, remember in college they were complaining about newspaper subscription rates, and the young people don't read news, and what are we going to do? And that was before we really even knew what the internet was going to do. I mean, that was way before Facebook. I mean, we're talking 95 to 99. I mean, Facebook wasn't even a thing in anyone's head yet, and so we just...
Of all the businesses you read about and you hear about and you learn about, because you're in the middle of it, what's the biggest advice you could give to a small business owner?
Boy. Well, see, I don't... That, watching relatives who have owned businesses, I've got relatives and in-laws who are small business owners and ran businesses. I mean, they're going to know more than I'll ever know about any of that experience, in terms of advice.
But don't you see trends? Don't you see trends out there and you think, don't do that because that's going to be dead in 5 years, or do this because mobile phones are going to be the next big thing,
Well, I mean, there are certain fundamentals. I mean, I think if you treat your customers right, I mean, a lot of the time that's going to be enough, right? I mean, I think if you do a good job treating your customers right, and that's what we talk about at our company a lot. We've got this sort of philosophy about trying to treat all our constituent groups correctly. So that's our readers, our advertisers, our vendors, our employees, our community. I mean, there's a universe of people, and we want to treat them all well. We don't want to try to drive our vendors to the rock bottom lowest price ever and just kill them and not give them any kind of margin. We want them to do well because there's a relationship there, and if they do well, we do well. And so we want to do right by them. We want to do right by advertisers. We certainly want to do right by readers. We want our employees to have good work-life balance. We want to compensate them as best we can for the jobs that they're doing. We want to help them grow as employees, so we try to do things that help them grow in their careers. So I think that's not a bad philosophy to live by if you're a small business owner.
Do the right thing.
Try to do the right thing. I mean,
do the right thing.
Why not?
Do the right thing. I always say, don't be afraid to change. You've got to be changing.
That too.
Next week, our guest is Mr. Frank Fletcher.
Hey, wow.
I've never met him before.
That's going to be a fun hour.
I hope so. I've never met him before. I heard he's a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Lance, thanks for joining me. Here's your gift today. Do you have a U.S. flag and an Arkansas flag on your desk?
I do not, but now I do.
You now have a desk set.
That is great. Thank you very much.
For those listeners who might have a great entrepreneurial story they'd like to share, send a brief bio or your contact info to me, Kerry at flagandbanner.com, and someone will be in touch. And to all, thank you for spending time with us. We hope you've heard or learned something that's been inspiring or enlightening, and that whatever it is, will help you up your business, your independence, or your life. I'm Kerry McCoy, and I'll see you next time on Up in Your Business. Until then, be brave and keep it up.
You've been listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy. For links to resources you heard discussed on today's show, go to flagandbanner.com, select radio, and choose today's guest. All interviews are recorded and posted the following week. Subscribe to podcasts wherever you like to listen. Kerry's goal is simple: to help you live the American dream.